Do you want to quit alcohol in the next 30 days? Impossible, you say. What if I told you that it's not only possible, but that this decision will change your life forever? I'm going to show you how to exactly go about it, what to expect, how to manage cravings and handle triggers, so this month can be a turning point for an alcohol-free life for you. Stick with me, because the first month is the roughest. But if you're able to do it, your chances of staying sober for the long run skyrocket. Hi, this is Alex, the Sober Dad. I remember the first month when I finally stopped drinking, and those days were pretty rough. I experienced some pretty intense cravings, and it felt almost like an out-of-body experience. I later learned that this is pretty normal because your body and your brain have been relying on alcohol for a very long time. So when I cut it off, my body and my mind were rebelling. If you are already a few days in, drop a comment. What has been the most difficult part? So how do you deal with those cravings? Well, each craving starts with a trigger. So you have to identify every trigger that produces a craving to drink. There are some triggers that you might be aware of, like some places or some situations, some people, stressful moments, but there are other triggers that you might not be so aware of. So identifying the triggers for drinking is extremely important in order to manage the cravings. Because it is the case that in the early days, there are so many things that trigger, especially if you have been drinking for a very long time. Your mind might have a lot of associations in your environment with drinking. Places in your house, chairs that you sat on, shows that you watched, doing certain activities around the house, things that you used to do while drinking will likely be triggers going forward. So you're gonna have to come up with a plan to avoid or eliminate those triggers the best you can. So for example, if you get triggered by a certain time of the day, like when you used to come back from work and start drinking, or if you were drinking later in the night, or who knows, maybe even in the mornings, you have to make sure that you are doing something else, or you are somewhere else instead of the place and the environment where you used to drink. And I know this is a lot of work, and this is going to require to change a lot of things about your daily routine. But this is the critical point, because if you don't work on minimizing or eliminating these triggers, your cravings will be very, very intense, and they might get the best of you. Do you feel stressed out? Go for a walk or pick up a hobby, even if it's just a puzzle. The key thing here is to entertain your mind, to change your train of thought, and change the things that you're used to doing that trigger you to drink. What's your biggest trigger? Share it in the comments below. Maybe somebody has a good way of handling it. Next, here's something that a lot of people don't think about when they first stop drinking, and that is that there's gonna be a huge hole in your schedule. If you're used to spending a lot of time drinking, guess what? Now that you are not going to be drinking, you have to do something else, because your mind, your body is gonna be expecting to do the same things we do over and over again. We are creatures of routine, and we're used to following routines as shorthand so we don't have to think about everything that we do. Now that you decide to quit, now you have to make sure that you fill that empty time with something else. Hopefully something that is useful, something that is aligned with your goals, something that is going to make you feel good, so you can replace the time you spend drinking with something much better for you. Maybe you replace happy hour with a trip to the gym, or a walk with a friend or your significant other. Try to fill up your time with things that support your sobriety. The next point is that you don't have to do it alone. As a matter of fact, it wasn't until I was able to open myself to other people that I truly started to get better. For the longest time, I thought I should be able to do this on my own. I didn't want to bother anybody. I didn't want to come across as a weak person. But understand that this is a very difficult thing that you're going to have to go through. And recruiting help, recruiting support might be crucial for you to be able to do this in the long run. And as I said, the first month is really tough. So it only makes sense that you have all the help and all the support that you can. Whether it's friends or family or a professional, finding support can make all the difference. If you don't feel comfortable talking to people in your life, consider online communities or support groups. Hearing other people's stories and relating to them and finding out how they went about it can be very motivating and very insightful. The next point is to learn why you're drinking in the first place. And this is going a little bit deep here. And in the first 30 days, you might want to focus on fending off and learning how to manage the cravings and the urges and identifying these triggers. However, it's never too early to start thinking about what are the root causes for your alcohol issue. Why are you drinking so much in the first place? And what you will find out is that many times the source of the drinking has to do with your mental health. You might be experiencing an issue with anxiety or feelings of depression or sadness. And these are things that you can deal with the help of a professional. Understanding the root causes is the key to making long-term changes. This might require some deep self-reflection and looking at your emotions and allowing yourself to feel them, which might be very scary. And this might be why you're drinking in the first place, because you don't want to face these strong emotions. So it might require some therapy, for example, but I'll tell you, it is worth it, because understanding the true reasons of why you're drinking the way you're drinking will help you to stop for good. Personally, I used to drink in order to calm my anxious feelings and thoughts, but I wasn't really aware of it. I knew I had a stressful job and there were a lot of things that I had to deal with, but I did not know what role did anxiety play in my drinking until I found some help. I joined an intensive outpatient program and I started doing some therapy when I fully realized the important role that anxiety was playing in my excessive drinking. And here's one of the most important points. You're going to have to be okay with discomfort. There's just no way around it. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's very hard to quit drinking. If it was so easy, you would have done it already. If you've been trying to quit, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your whole life revolves around alcohol right now. Your daily routine is designed to support your drinking habit. So changing this will require high levels of discomfort, because you're going to be doing things that you're not used to, things that don't make you feel good. And a lot of these emotions that you've been masking with the alcohol, that you've been kind of avoiding, will come up to the surface and you're going to have to deal with them. But remember why you're doing this, right? Because you're going to have to go through this period in order to feel better, much better in the long run. You're going to have to delay gratification for the sake of reclaiming your life and begin to live again the way you know you deserve it. Growth is uncomfortable, but that discomfort means that you're growing, changing, evolving into a better version of yourself. When those moments hit, remember that this is only temporary and this is leading to something much, much better. If you can get through this month, you will notice something amazing. You will see that the cravings start to fade. Your energy level will increase and your confidence will skyrocket, because you will have shown yourself that you're capable of doing very difficult things. And that's powerful. This is not easy, but I know you can do this. If you want to learn more about how to deal with cravings and urges, check out this video right here that I made just for you. Also, if you want more help in this critical time, consider joining my Sober Now mentorship program, where I will provide you with individualized support for your unique situation that will help you to maximize your chances to stay sober this first month. Check the link in the description below. If you found this video helpful, share your story in the comments below. And remember, you're stronger than you think. Let's take this one day at a time. And I will see you in the next video.